cannot imagine what it must be like over in the Kamala camp today. Did you watch the interview last night? It was brutal. Good afternoon, outliers. Boy, I tell you what an incredible Thursday we have. I hope that you are having the best day ever. At least here in Texas, it is sunshiny and beautiful, and that fall Texas weather is here. And listen, I am not complaining one bit. Good to see you, Peter. But I tell you who probably is complaining today. That would be Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. I cannot imagine what it must be like over in the Kamala camp today. Did you watch the interview last night? It was brutal. Oh, it was horrible. It's a third spectacular. Good to see you, Michael. It was brutal last night. I've probably watched 6 hours of this kind of content today because I am just digging it all. But I haven't watched this video yet, so let's watch it live together.
70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
By the way, before she says anything, this is what I was saying for so long. For so long. I was like, how can you be saying you're going to make everything better when you just had 3.5 years to make everything better, but in the process, 79% of people said you made things worse.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and Donald.
Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
What? Why is everybody saying everything's bad? Donald Trump is running for office. Okay.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking
That was my favorite moment of everything last night. She's like, you know what I'm talking about. And he goes, actually, I have no idea what you're talking about. What are you trying to say?
about is that over the last decade,
But you're
people
the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen, over the last decade.
That loud thumping sound you just heard echo across the fruited plains was the sound of the jaws of every single Democrat in the nation dropping to the floor. Take a look at Polymarket. If you want to know what a disaster of an interview that was.
This actually, I'm keeping up on my phone now. Where we live in the US, maybe where you are, it's different. You can't bet on the elections per se, but Polymarket, from what I understand, is international, right? But they have an incredible web page. I was just pulling it up here, looking at it on my phone, right? So I'm looking at this multiple times a day at this point to see how the odds are stacking in our favor. We have 19 days left, by the way. 19 days. 19 days, Donna. 19 days, John Louis. 19 days until the election. And we're probably going to be doing a lot more election coverage until that point. But, oh, man. I was just telling my wife last night, I was like, early voting starts next week. You better believe we're going to be one of the first people in line, right? I want to make sure that I cast my ballot and make my voice heard.
Was Trump's odds to win the presidency just hit their highest point ever, literally within minutes of that interview. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you stay sane in these insane times. And we're going to survey the fallout from that train wreck last night and what it all really means. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And, gang, let's dive right in. Many of us know by now what an October.
No, I'm skipping your ad.
A self-inflicted.
Wes is here. 19 days. Michael says his ballot is already in the box. Way to go, dude.
October surprise. Last night, Kamala Harris, through her own incompetent undoing, single-handedly blew up her entire campaign.
100%. I saw something. I forget exactly what the quote was, but it was some liberal person talking about how she showed just how strong she was last night, and she would do the exact same thing with foreign leaders. And it's like, what? She crumbled under the pressure. What strength? What are you talking about? It was awful. I mean, I could imagine this. And then she's been talking about how she wants to go on Joe Rogan. Are you kidding me? I listen to Joe Rogan. I hope you do too. I listen to Joe Rogan, and most of his podcasts are 3+ hours long. Do you actually think that she could go 3 hours? She couldn't go 25 minutes with Fox News. And Joe Rogan is going to ask just the same questions because Joe Rogan doesn't claim a party. And she actually thinks she could go 3 hours. Give me a freaking break.
As many of you know, Harris agreed to a sit-down, unscripted, unedited interview with Fox News' Bret Baier. Now, ironically, she only has herself to blame for having to do the interview in the first place. She's been deliberately hiding from the press, and that's begun to negatively affect her poll numbers. And so she was forced to sit down with Baier, and they weren't even a minute into the interview when things began to clearly unravel.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right now,
just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system.
Who broke it? Who as borders are? Who is trying to claim 1984 and like, no, I was never border czar. Like legitimately, that was your job. And she just said it's broken. She just said, I failed at my job the last 3.5 years. Vote for me. I'm not Trump. Really?
That needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have an
rough
immigration
estimate of 6
system
million people.
that
By the way, she tried to pull the I'm speaking line multiple times. He wasn't going to stand for that, which I'm really glad, right?
Been released into the country. And let me just finish. I'll get to the question. I promise you.
I was beginning to answer.
And
no, you weren't. No, you weren't. No, you were emphatically not answering the question. You don't answer the questions. The question was a very straightforward and simple one. Under your tenure, how many, right? That's a quantity question. How many illegal immigrants have poured into the country? Is it 1 million? Is it 2 million? Is it 6 million? What is it? Your best estimate. Go. What is it? The entire world witnessed a candidate
infinity. That's my best estimate.
completely incapable of answering a straightforward question. And unlike CNN, unlike MSNBC, unlike CBS, Bret Baier called her out on it, and she melted.
Premise. Jocelyn Mungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday, campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Brett,
those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There's no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred.
Right. Which is 100% your fault.
So that is true.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Listen, this is too powerful.
I'm so sorry for her loss, sincerely. But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well.
But do you want to answer
in all fairness, I told you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
Again, that's the very definition of a disaster. She's confronted directly with the catastrophic consequences of her doing, of her and Biden deliberately rescinding Trump's executive orders that secured our southern border. And all she could do was try to deflect it all away from herself and try to pin it on Trump. That was the strategy for the entire interview. Whatever she was asked, always make sure to deflect to Trump. How it's Trump. It's Trump. Trump is actually responsible.
And that's the thing, that she can't hide behind that, right? It'd be one thing if she weren't the incumbent, right? But that's the problem here. Is that she's literally in the White House right now. She's in the Oval Office with Joe Biden right now, because Joe Biden's too old to do anything at this point. I mean, he probably can't even tell what room he's in. But she's literally there right now. Has been in there for 3.5 years, and yet she wants to blame anything and everything that's not perfect on Donald Trump, who's been out for 3.5 years. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Hey, Tug, good to see you. Seriously embarrassing.
For our unsecure border. Trump is actually responsible for our collapsing economy. It's all Trump. But for me, the single best part of the entire interview was when she cluelessly fell for the most obvious trap imaginable. Did you see CBS cut J.D. Vance's mic off as he tried to correct the moderators about immigration during the recent VP debate? Shutting his mic off is a clear example of violation like the Ground News is a website coverage.
2 ads in one video.
Trying to fact
Impressive.
the way I could the link in the screen I had. Kamala began to get visibly angry in response to how poorly her anti-Trump screeds were missing.
I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
He was asked
No,
about that
no,
specific-
that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and
I'm
respect to
telling you, that was the question that we asked him.
He didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has
Really? Turning the American military on the American people. You really think Trump is going to do? You really think that the guy who was in the office from 2016 to 2020, when he gets in office, is going to be like, well, daggum, I didn't do it right the first time. Let me just completely flip-flop on everything and be a total dictator, and I'm going to send the American military after anybody who disagrees with me. Give me a freaking break.
has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest.
Nobody believes her anymore. I mean, honest to God, like I when I look at her, when I listen to her, when I hear everything, who's believing this at this point? I can tell you what, the betting markets are saying 6 out of 10 people are not believing it. That's what they're saying.
He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the president of the
You can see on his face, he's like, I got her. This is going to be clipped so good. This is going to be so good for my reputation.
United States, in the United States of America, should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it.
But why?
Didn't they just try to lock Donald Trump up for the last 4 years about anything and everything that they could make up, right? How many different lawfare tactics did they use against him, right? The Fannie Willis charges in Georgia, the New York charges on fraud, and January 6 charges on Jack Schmidt, who can't get anything to stick. And dude's, I mean, he's the Teflon Don. He's just avoiding all of it. And it's like, who is actually trying to put people in jail? Please enlighten me. Is it Trump? Or is it you guys? I mean, it's obvious.
While she was going on that unhinged rant, little did she know that Brett Baer was actually setting her up.
He's unstable. He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable?
He's not stable.
This is really good, by the way, if you hadn't seen this yet.
Ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
You can see on her face, she's like, ooh. I walked into that one, didn't I? Ooh.
Look at that face.
Ooh.
That's the face of someone who just realized that she actually just stepped in it. Did you see how Brett Baer caught her? You say Trump is mentally unstable, that he's not mentally fit for the job. And then she, of course, keeps repeating it. Since you're such a good judge of mental facility, when did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties were failing? That, gang, that's called game, set, match. And you could tell she had no idea how to answer the question.
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, and he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
Joe Biden's not on the ballot. No, we kicked him off. Stop talking about Joe. He's done for. We got rid of him. Talk about me. But don't talk about me. Talk about Trump instead. He's the bad guy.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
but
is.
You talked about it.
And Donald Trump
after
is.
George Clooney.
All she has to say when did you notice Joe Biden's decline is he's not on the ticket. Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump.
And he said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand. You met with him.
How could she never have prepared for that question? How could she never have prepared for someone to say, Remember when you were telling everybody how great Joe Biden is, and then he got destroyed in the one debate that he had, and then removed basically from the Democrat Party? Remember that? How come you didn't tell anybody about that? When did you actually notice that? And she's like, oh shit.
At least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
Dude, look at her body language. She's like, F you, guy.
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump.
So in the end, all she could muster was, but
And then, hang on. Did you hear that answer?
You met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns?
I think the American people have a concern about Donald Trump.
Her answer is, the question was, you met with him at least once a week for 3.5 years. You didn't have any concerns? The American people should be concerned about Donald Trump. Good gravy. How can you answer without throwing him under the bus? Well said. Just because he performed poorly doesn't mean he's cognitively in the cellar. I don't know, dude. Every time I see him, he looks pretty cognitively in the cellar to me.
So in the end, all she could muster was, but Biden isn't on the ticket. Trump is. Biden isn't on the ballot. Trump is. And our good friend Bridget Fedesi pointed out, gee whiz, Kamala, why precisely isn't Joe Biden on the ballot anymore? I mean, she literally stepped into the very premise of the question. If Biden is so cognitively sharp, as you claim, if he's what Joe Scarborough infamously said, the best Biden ever, and if you're such a great judge on mental fitness, then why isn't Biden on the ticket? When did you first notice his mental decline, the entire reason why he's not on the ballot? I mean, her answer, well, he's not on the ballot, literally begged the question. I mean, in many ways, it was Brett Baer's assessment of the entire interview at the end of it all that really summed it up.
You know, when the kicker in football, they call a timeout.
Oh, I haven't seen this yet.
Right before he's going to kick the field goal. They're icing the kicker. So we were supposed to start at 5 p.m. This was the time they gave us. Originally, we were going to do 25 or 30 minutes. They came in and said, well, maybe 20. So it was already getting whittled down. And then the vice president showed up about 5:15. We were pushing the envelope to be able to turn it around for the top of the 6 o'clock. So that's how it started. And I could tell when we started talking that she was going to be tough to redirect without me trying to interrupt. I did this with President Obama. At one point, I just said, Mr. President, I know you like the filibuster. I just didn't even have the chance to sometimes redirect in those ways. I had a lot of other questions.
So obviously there were a lot of shenanigans.
Yeah, it was, what a shit show. Brian says, that Trump disco didn't look much better. Listen, that Trump disco was a thing. I agree. I saw a video on that. So Trump had a rally. Two unrelated people had two unrelated medical incidents. And so he stopped the rally basically and just basically put on music for 45 minutes. Brian, I'm not going to say that. Brian, they're going to clip that if I say that and use that against me when I run for president. You know that, right? I can't say that. But the rally that he stopped, right? Granted, I do think that they should have moved it on rather than just having him up there for 45 minutes, just playing DJ, having a disco. Yeah, that wasn't super awesome. But Brian can say it. Good, because I'm not gonna. Let's do our market analysis. All right, welcome to the Outlier Trading Room. This is Smart Trading Made Simple. This is where we save time, make money, start winning with less risk together as a team. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm your rich Uncle Chris. I've twice been awarded top 100 people in finance. I've been successfully trading since 2009. I'm a partner with Outlier, and this is my style of trading using Outlier. Yesterday, we showed off the new 3.0 version. So if you didn't get a chance to see all the really cool stuff that's coming, please be sure to go watch yesterday's video. Brian says he'll stand by me and explain it. Brian, you have stood by me for years at this point, and my friend, you are awesome. So thank you for that. Click the wrong button there. There we go. So this is the golden ticket trading strategy. So real quick, how does Outlier work? It's a 4-step process. Outlier monitors how investors are reacting to changing market conditions, news, price movements, and the economy, and a crazy fool who's running for president, and Donald Trump. It determines if investors are acting irrationally, fearful, or greedy, and by how much. Outlier determines buy and sell signals when these irrational behaviors reach an extreme. And number 4, allowing you to get into the stock before the outlier move happens. So let's do today's member highlight real quick. When I click the button, there. I don't have my Discord pulled up. 2 seconds. Randy showcased the cool winner. I wanted to talk about that. Way to go, Randy. Where's that at? We're here in the share your big wins. 46.5%. This is a new post in the last hour. Stopped out of its Nvidia calls for a 46.5 gain in 2 days. Way to go, Randy. I'm gonna throw all the emojis on there. Yeah, dude, that's what this is about. And you probably saw Randy's testimonial in your email this morning, because just yesterday he talked about he jumped ahead of the market signal and made 30% on the Nvidia calls. So let's take a look at Nvidia real quick. And then Brian was sharing how he used order blocks and Trump's surge in the polls to take advantage of his stock pullback. So congratulations on that, Brian. Way to go. Let's see who else is chatting over here. Oh, there was some conversation about some trading journals. I do want to point out, I do have in the VIP Investors Toolkit. You scroll up to High Performance Portfolio Manager. That's what I use. It's what I show off. In fact, I'll pull it up real quick. Right, this is what it looks like. This is what I share all the time. This may work for you if you're looking for that portfolio manager like this. I mean, it's got a spreadsheet that you can keep track of over here in the main portfolio tab. But if not, that's cool too. Just thought I'd put it out there since that was some chatter in the Discord this morning. And yeah, that should do it. Now let's take a look at Wes was talking about stonkjournal.com. It's free and useful. Let's go to this Nvidia real quick. So Randy got in probably around October 9th. Now, I would not have taken this trade personally. I'll tell you why. First, it was in the tech sector, which the tech sector has some bearish breadth going on right now. The market has some bearish breadth going on right now. But these signals can stand on their own, and that's what Randy showed yesterday with a 46% gain. So outstanding. Well done, Randy. Jean-Louis says, Chris for president, campaign promise, order blocks, and outlier version 3. You know, honestly, my mom, ever since I was a little kid, she said, Chris, you're going to be president one day. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to be president. I don't want to deal with that. So I appreciate that. My mom will appreciate that too, Jean-Louis. So of course, be sure to share your stories in the Discord. We're always looking to hear how you are using Outlier, just like Brian did, just like Randy did, and just like you're going to be doing later on today. So way to go. Congratulations to both of you. Don't forget the first rule of Outlier is you tell everybody about Outlier, right? Because this is something special. We're going to be changing the world with Outlier, and you want to get your friends and family involved in this as well. Be sure you hit the like button to tell everyone else about it on YouTube as well, and it's free. So let's take a look real quick on the market. We want to see the 10 over 20, price over 50. Not actually looked at the market today. I don't even have TrendSpider pulled up. I thought I did. 2 seconds here. That's how much I didn't look at the market today. I looked at it early this morning when I was getting the breadth, but I hadn't looked at it since then. All right, so the SPY hit a new all-time high today, intraday, as you can see that. 10, 20, 50. Let me remove this. 10, 20, 50, all is pointing north, right? A couple days ago, I was wrong, and that's why I didn't have any money on the line. But I said we might be seeing a short-term top here. Clearly, that didn't work out, and that's okay because we still have a very, very strong trend. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that new all-time highs, new 52-week highs is incredibly bullish because, in theory, anybody who's ever bought the SPY right now has more money than when they bought it, right? In theory, every single person holding SPY is profitable today when it hits a new all-time high. So that makes people excited, right? That's that greed factor that we're talking about here, right? Buying begets buying. Bullish trends continue on until they start to bend, right? And that's also why selling begets selling, right? That fear grows so quickly and people like start cutting their stocks as fast as they possibly can. This is the case too. This is the is this the slope of hope or the wall of worry? Forget. Hang on. One of them is the slope of hope. Hope meaning I mistyped that wrong. No, stock market. Hang on. Hang on. There's a slope of hope and the wall of worry. I think this is the wall of hurry. Oh, I typed it wrong. That's what slope of hope, wall of worry. Okay. When it's going up, it's the wall of worry, right? Worried it's going to go down. And then the slope of hope, when it's doing the other way, is, oh man, I sure hope that this comes back, right? We've been climbing the wall of worry for a while. Yeah, that's for sure. Now, the market breadth, getting out of the tech sector, going back to the full stocks. We can see this doesn't cross yet. This is on the 5 EMA. I used the 10, which is really close. It's very possible tomorrow is the day. Very, very possible. And so on that day, I'm going to get real busy, just like you are, right? We had 51 new stocks on the bull list today, 25 new stocks on the bear list today. So in theory, very possible a day like tomorrow, we're back, baby. We're back, baby. And we'll just have to play it by ear, right? Let's take a look real quick. The sectors. There's only 2 bullish sectors right now, which of course can change by tomorrow. And that was, or 3, financials, healthcare, and real estate. Of what I could pull today, TGTX was a healthcare one. TGTX was the only one that showed in a bullish sector that fit my criteria, and it's inside of an order block. So I would have been trading anyway today, but that's okay. That's how it goes, right? So we've got a buy signal on the SPY. Market trends bullish. Market breadth is so close. Very possibly we'll click over bullish tomorrow. Sector breadth pretty limited right now, but that could change by tomorrow if we do see the market breadth tick up. So I don't have any trades to put on today. However, you do need to come back. You do need to look every single day, right? It's about consistency and discipline. That's a quote from Richard Dennis. He says, Richard Dennis is one of the greatest traders of all time, one of my trading heroes. And one of his key rules to success is you have to have consistency and discipline to show up every day. In fact, I may have his quote in here. He said something about he could put his rules in the newspaper. There it is. There it is. I always say you could publish your rules in a newspaper and nobody would follow them. The key is consistency and discipline. And that's why you're here. That's why you watch every single day. It's because you have consistency and discipline. You have what it takes to be successful as a trader, right? So thank you again so much for coming to today's Outlier Trading Room. Thank you for being an outlier. We literally couldn't do this without you. We want to pay you back every single day by helping you save time, make money, and start winning with less risk together as a team here in the trading room. Don't forget, you can save 45% on the annual plan if you haven't already got one. We will be raising prices again at the end of October. That's our strategy right now, is finding that sweet spot, and we feel like we could go up a little bit higher in price because honestly, as you know, Outlier is very, very, very worth it. Plus, it's literally 90 cents a day. Give me a break. If you can't afford 90 cents a day, you probably can't afford to trade. I'm just putting that out there. Let us know if you need anything in the Discord. We're here for you every day. Don't forget, the first rule of Outlier is to tell everybody about Outlier. Hit the like button. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Have a fantastic afternoon, and we'll talk soon.